Hi everybody, and welcome to NorCal Slot Car Scene. Today we're going to take a preview look at an exciting new product. And that new product is a 24 scale Mazda Miata Spec Racer. The Miata is brought to you by Electric Dreams and ScaleAuto. So why a Miata and why in 24 scale? First of all, the Miata is one of the most successful racing series in the United States. The series is run by IMSA and sponsored by Whelen. The MX-5 Cup runs on a number of different tracks, from the short track at Martinsville to the road course at Laguna Seca. So let's take a look at the Miata Spec Racer. The Miata Spec Racer is a collaboration between Electric Dreams and ScaleAuto, and it is in 24 scale. This gives you a perspective of the 24 scale Mazda versus a 32nd scale NSR Corvette. And there's not a whole lot of difference here. When you compare them to some of my other cars, in length, my shortest car is the Revo-Slot BMW, and the longest being the ScaleAuto Cadillac Hypercar. And if you look at the Miata, it's right in line. And if you look at the actual dimensions of the real cars, the Miata is not much different than the BMW, but it's considerably shorter than the Cadillac. If you get out your calculator and crunch the numbers, in 32nd scale, the Cadillac should be about 6.3 inches long, and the Miata in 24 scale, about 6.4 inches long. So they should be about the same, and from the pictures, you can see they pretty much are. Because the Miata is a very small car, in 24 scale, being about the same size as the Cadillac, it should run great on the larger plastic tracks like Polycar, Carrera, or ScaleAuto. Since the car is 24 scale, it is a bit heavier than the 32nd scale cars that I'm used to. The body weighs in at a little over 32 grams, which compares to most of my cars, which are in the 18 to 20 gram range in 32nd scale. The overall car is about 140 grams. And again, most of my 32nd scale cars are in the 80 gram or so range. Now let's take a closer look at the 24 scale Miata. When you take a close-up look at the car, you can see there is quite a bit of detail. The driver features a painted helmet, and there's plenty of detail in the interior, including a dashboard, a shift lever, and even a handbrake. From the top, you can see the fire extinguisher and the padding for the roll cage. You can see from these close-up pictures that this is a 3D hand-painted prototype. And obviously, you can see the imperfections. When the production car hits the market, I'm sure it will be up to ScaleAuto's standards, like we've seen in the recent Cadillac and Porsche hypercars. Overall, this car looks great, whether it's in the pits or on the pre-grid. And I can't wait to see a bunch of Miatas racing around slot car tracks in Northern California and around the country. Now let's take off the body and look at the mechanical end of the slot car. First of all, you'll see that it uses somewhat standard form of body mounting. The body is simply inserted into the body mounts on the chassis. As far as the chassis itself, it is an all-metal chassis, and it's very similar to the chassis that they use in their 24 scale hypercars. From the bottom, you can see the main chassis plate as well as a separate plate for the motor pod. From the top, you can see that there's a separate red motor pod with a mounting bracket for the motor. You can also see that there is suspension on this car. For the drivetrain, the prototype uses the standard features found on the other 24 scale cars. It has a plastic pinion, a plastic spur gear with a metal hub, and foam rear tires. The motor in this prototype is a 20K short can motor, and I have no idea whether this will be the actual motor or it will be a different specification. Overall, the chassis looks very capable, but keep in mind again that this is a prototype and the details of the actual production cars may vary. The Miata will be available exclusively through Electric Dreams. When it hits the market, it will be available as a white kit. But there will be numerous decal sets available specifically designed for the Miata. If all goes to plan, we'll see this car in the summer of 2025, and the anticipated selling price will be about $150. On a final note, I'd really like to thank John Roberts for letting me use his Dread Pirate Roberts Raceway to film this video. I think it's one of the most detailed 32nd scale tracks that I've seen. I hope you enjoyed the preview of the Mazda Miata from Electric Dreams and ScaleAuto. Thanks for watching. This is Jim Rose with NorCal Slot Car Scene.